white tears,
White.
particularly male white tears.
Uh-oh.
Really white tears in general, because that's what Karens are, right? They Karen out.
Thank
and then
God
as soon
I'm
as
not
they
white.
Green Waterworks.
My show had value, and that I'm sorry. That that what I was doing had value.
Oh, the tears of unfathomable sadness. Yummy.
I'm sorry, but nothing she did with her political commentary actually provided any real value to any voters, as her whole show was just pushing propaganda for the establishment.
The thing about it is, it's funny until he actually wiretaps a member of Congress, right? I mean, you had the DC...
That weasel right there, that guy, I think it's Filipino. Conway. That guy right there. I mean, an American, but, Filipino descent.
U.S. Attorney from D.C. literally threatened Chuck Schumer over something he said a few years ago about how, you're going to feel the wrath of the American people. It's like, oh, that sounds like a threat. Anyone who says any criticism of the Doge kids, he could literally have your house raided. And I mean, this is the threat that Republicans and Democrats are now living under. Basically, we on this side of the TV screen have said all we can. We've laid out the stakes in this crucial election, where one side stands for freedom while the other meets the textbook definition of fascism, namely a far-right dictatorial regime like Hitler's Germany or Franco's Spain or Mussolini's Italy, but also white-ruled South Africa.
Trying to convince her audience Kamala's campaign was flawless.
I mean, this really was an historic, flawlessly run campaign. She had Queen Latifah never endorses anyone. She came out and endorsed,
because she got paid. She got paid. All of them got paid.
I mean, she had every prominent.
Look at that smug look in her face. You're next. You're next.
Celebrity voice. She had the Taylor Swift. She had the Swifties. She had the Beehive. Like, you could not.
You're next, Rachel Maddow. You're next.
Have run a better campaign.
And basically just racism.
In America, there's a thing about both white vigilantism and white tears, particularly male white tears. Really white tears in general, because that's what Karens are, right?
He hates white.
They Karen out, and then as soon as they get caught, Green Waterworks.
It's amazing to me how she survived for so long, as her entire purpose on television was to spread lies and create division.
You know why? You know why? It's because MSNBC, from the CEO to the board, they're probably afraid of her. They don't want to be called racist. They're afraid of her. Look at Al Sharpton. He's still there in the NBC. I mean, how could... They're untouchable. Well, it took like this years, and this ratings just went down the drain after the election. That's probably when the board says, okay, we had enough. We're tired of losing money. And one has got to go. And Joy Reid is, she's on the top of the, just basically, hanging in one thread.
And all while accusing the other side of spreading lies and creating division. But here she is crying over not being able to be paid to be a professional idiot anymore.
That what I was doing had value. And in the end, I'm sorry, I try not to cry on TV. And this is kind of like me on TV, so I apologize. And then it mattered. I see Karen is there, and she's been texting me as well. And so what I will just say is that in the end, thank you. Where I land is that the moment of guilt that I felt, that I went hard on so many issues, whether it was the Black Lives Matter issues of a young baby or a mom or a dad that was killed, or when we opened up people's eyes to the fact that Asian Americans were being targeted, and not just Black folks. That
see how what you did there? Asian Americans being targeted. I'm an Asian American. But if you got to look at the statistics, who's attacking Asian American in inner cities, right? Overwhelmingly, they're either blacks or Latinos.
Kinda interesting how I never heard her bring up Jocelyn Adams or Muhammad Anwar when the BLM or Stop Asian Hate movements were in headlines everywhere.
Yeah.
But here she is now doing her whole revisionist history as to why she was such a steward for social justice.
Exactly.
When all she was really doing was promoting left-wing talking points while omitting the inconvenient truths that were actually impacting our community.
Or whether we've talked about what the president is doing that is subversive to the Constitution, that is injurious to our liberty, defending books.
Okay, so this is the problem with the left, though. They have their own interpretation of the Constitution. It's what she's talking about is all a bunch of nonsense.
I am not sorry that I stood up for those things, because those things are of God.
You gotta mention the G word now, aren't you?
And I'm a church girl too, and those
I don't know what church you go to, but yeah, it's not the church I go to.
Those are the things that I was taught were of God. And so I'm not sorry. I'm just proud of my show.
And I think that last line encapsulates how detached from reality these people are. You got fired for being terrible at your job and failing at basically your only objective on MSNBC, which was defeating Donald Trump, as he's now more popular and powerful than ever. But somehow she's walking away from a legacy of being fired over her failures and still wants to sign off with, "I'm proud of that." That's just loser mentality. AKA she lost in historic fashion, but she still ran a flawless campaign. But what's interesting is how Outkick's Clay Travis points out how ultra-left TV commentators like Joy Reid, Don Lemon, and Jim Acosta got $1 million contracts to be on TV, but never developed an actual fan base, where they were broadcast into millions of people's homes every night, and somehow were never able to establish a connection with them. As Don Lemon now has over 500,000 subscribers on YouTube, but barely gets in the tens of thousands of views on his videos. Jim Acosta broke off to his own Substack with nearly 250,000 followers, but can't even break 2,000 likes per post. Compared to when Tucker Carlson was fired from Fox News, his audience had no problem following him to his own independent show, where he's raking in millions of views per interview of people seeking him out to watch hours of long-form conversation. And what is this really? Do you mean to tell me that people on the right are more loyal to their newsmen than people on the left? Or is it just that people crave the truth? Because anybody from Don Lemon to Joy Reid to Decoy Voice could go on CNN or MSNBC and read the same teleprompter, parroting these same talking points. But there's only one man in news that sounds like that.
Good evening, I'm here in my secret getaway hideout, just enjoying the outdoors. Turns out that things are not as good in the forest as we believed they were. I spoke to an owl just today. He has many concerns. Turns out that just the other day, his humble tree home was raided by squirrels. They stole everything. Crime is surging in the forest.
It's pretty good.
Acorns are being extorted. If it was up to me, my furry friends would take back their woodland home. What's the matter? Did the squirrels steal the nuts between your legs as well?
And maybe that's why neither me nor Joy Reid can get millions of fans that tune into every piece of content we make, because we don't have that signature Tucker Carlson inflection. As I know my delivery is distinct in this bizarre mix of Korean Christopher Walken speech pattern. I remember even being recognized in a very dark bar on Halloween based on someone hearing my voice alone. And even though I can come across somewhat controversial with my political takes, I've never had a bad interaction in real life with someone that recognizes me. Contrary to how people see the left-wing political pundits.
Hey, is this Jim Acosta? Yeah. Wow, fake news, Jim Acosta, everybody.
So maybe that's what these outlets like MSNBC and CNN are starting to realize.
That's the same thing I would do if I see Jim Acosta in the public. I would say, hey, look, everybody, it's Jim Acosta. Fake news, Jim Acosta.
That with free-flowing information coming in from places like the #1 ranked news app, Twitter, they can no longer manipulate the reality around their viewers when they can just log on to X and constantly see the truth. Or they keep trying to play this clip of Elon allegedly leaving his kid behind.
You're leaving your little boy.
When in actuality, it's just yet another carefully clipped hoax.
I watched this rocket come down about 3 months ago, and I thought it was crashing. I was talking to somebody on the phone. By the way,
You know,
And for some people, all it takes
have
is one or
kids.
two red pill moments like this. But for others, I think it takes an entire election cycle to finally unplug from the mainstream corporate media. As if you only watched Joy Reid and Don Lemon, you would think Kamala Harris was the greatest presidential candidate of all time, about to win in a landslide. But as the reality was completely different, and when they quickly transition into, here's why it's a bad thing Trump's Doge is exposing rampant wasteful spending and fraud, people are finally gonna stop watching the mainstream corporate media, as it only made them dumber and more detached from reality than if they watched nothing at all. But if you appreciate my concise, light-hearted commentary that sadly doesn't sound like Tucker Carlson, hopefully I've earned your subscription, then go check out the video on how DEI is actually...
Well, Tucker Carlson's unique. You know, everyone's unique. But I'm gonna leave the link in the description for the full video or the original video for Decoy voice. Good take, man. So yeah. So Joey Reid. I hope that Rachel Maddow and all them. You know, I just hope that MSNBC or NBC will smarten up. You know, you can't be just like dragging. They're dragging you to the far left. That it was just not turning into dollars. That's what it is. So, all right. Well, till next time. We'll see you.